Hi guys, welcome to the second lesson of our Shape It Up class. So with this one we're going to work on circles. So the first thing I'm going to show you are the circle punches that I'm going to be using. These are the Creative Memories and it's 1 1/4 and 1 1/2. I also have a Marchi Uchida that's a 1/2 inch circle, and then this teeny tiny one that's from Recollections. I believe this is a quarter, no, it probably won't be an eighth, a quarter of an inch. So I'm also going to be cheating a little bit because I don't have a humongous circle punch, but if you do, you can always use that. But I wanted to use these nested circles because part of my layout, I'm going to make some shaker embellishments for it. I'm also going to be using, because I am going to be making a shaker embellishment, I need some sequins for it. And then I have a string, just a regular crochet trim, because I'm going to be making a banner with using circle punches instead of your normal triangle or your banner shape. And then I have these papers. I also have, before I show you the papers, I'm going to need a transparency, or we're going to need the transparency so that we can make our shaker accents. And then here are the papers that I'm going to be using. These are all from DCWB, or Die Cuts with a View, and I wanted to use some very modern colors, but then also a combination of bold colors like this black one and also the brown, and then some subdued one like the pink and this really pretty turquoise or light green, mint green I should say. And then I'm going to use a white background. Now if you've ever watched a process video from me or ever have ever taken a class with me, I usually cheat and use the backside of a pattern paper that I will never use. If it's a one-sided paper, which is usually found in a paper pack, you know that one side has the pattern and the other side is white, and so that's what I usually use for my white cardstock background, because then it saves me money, and then also I use up some papers that I won't normally, like I will never use, because it's too bold or I don't like the pattern. So that might be a good way for you to save some money with your scrapbooking, and so let's just get on it. All right, guys, so I'm starting off by cutting off the barcode or the packaging strip that is on my white cardstock, or actually the back side of my pattern paper. And then I'm cutting off this text paper, trimming it down to about a 1/4 inch, an 1/8 of an inch on all sides. So I cut a 1/4 inch on maybe the left or the right side, and then I'll cut a 1/4 inch on either the bottom or the top, and that would be my 1/8 of an inch on all sides. And then I'm also cutting the inside piece of this paper, maybe about a 4x4 piece of square paper, from that text, because I'm going to use that for this shaker accent, and also because I like to maximize my papers, and knowing that I'm going to be putting a layer of pattern paper over it, and that part of the text paper won't show, so I decide to just cut that off. And then I'm cutting down I believe that's about a 10 by 10 or 10 by 9 piece of mint striped paper, and that's going to be in the center of my page. And then I'm punching out some circles. That's 1 1/4 inch of a size, and then I'm going to cut that in half, and I'm going to make that as my scallop border. Now this is great to use of course your circle punch, but also if you don't have a scallop border punch, this will be perfect technique to use your circle punch as well. And I'm using the wood grain paper. I'm just interested in the wood grain part of the paper, so I'm kind of cutting down the piece so it'll be easier for me to punch out my circles. I love that lace on that pattern paper, but it won't really work with the theme that I'm going for, so I just cutting around that. And I'm going to just do this, lay that all out. Now, I like to kind of move things around on my page before committing to adhering anything. I know that's kind of a cumbersome thing sometimes because things move around because they're not adhered, but I'm just used to it. I like to move things. move things around. I'd rather move things and put them where I am most, you know, like most happy with them before committing to adhering them. And then I have these 3 4x6 photos. These I have 2 vertical and 1 horizontal. These photos are of a little glass art show that we watched at a museum in Virginia. And so I have 2 that were showing how the ladies did the glass art, and then 1 of my son just looking at the glass. And then here I'm going to start off working on my shaker accent. So I have the circle dies. Now I don't have a huge circle punch, that's why I am kind of cheating with the circle die. But if you have big circle punches, this will work as well. So I am cutting out some medium-sized circle. I want to say that's about 2.5-inch circle from the light heart, subtle heart design of a pattern paper. And then I'm going to cut out a circle frame using the same die set with on the black text paper. Now this is the nesting circle dies are actually really perfect to make shaker accents. What I do is, because my circle dies are really close together, I don't pick the two the sizes that are close together. What I do is I pick one and then I skip a circle, and then I go with the second or the next smaller circle die for my frame, because I like a thicker frame. I would say my frame is about an eighth, no, half an inch of the frame. And then I'm cutting out another circle that is slightly bigger, because when I was putting down the frame onto that subtle heart paper, it just seems like it's closely connected to the black text paper that's behind it. So I wanted my back side of my shaker card to be slightly bigger than the frame. And then here I'm going to be doing the same circle cutting with transparency, because we are going to make a shaker accent, and so we need that clear transparent window so that we can see our sequence. And I'm just going to run that through, and then I'm going to put my shaker card here, or shaker accent. Keep on saying card. Shaker accent in a minute. So all of my circle pieces are done, and now to make the circles. Now I'm using this 1/4 inch punch from Recollections, and that's going to be part of my shaker accent. I love that I can use little bits and pieces of paper and also my little bits of punches. So if you have these tiny punches, I know I've seen some from American Crafts that they have the tiny hearts, tiny Christmas trees, and all those little cute punches. You can definitely use that as part of your shaker accent. Now I am adhering the frame onto my transparency, and then I am going to adhere some foam adhesive all around that frame. That's a good thing about making a frame for your shaker accent, is that you have a place to put your dimensional adhesive that it won't show in the front. So my foam adhesive was, I think, a 1/2 inch width, and so I just trimmed that down in half to make it a 1/4 inch, so that it will go all around the frame without showing in the front. Now I know that there must be an easier way to add the accents or the shaker sequences into your shaker accent, or in that frame. And what I do is I just put them I just turn over my frame and then put that in the center. Some people, they also do, they put the backing on there and then they put it on another piece of paper, but I didn't do that here. I just put it in there, and then I'm just going to lay my backside on there, hoping that my shaker accent will be in the center, and it was. So that is my little shaker accent, and I love it. It reminds me of that glass art that we were looking at during this event, or this activity. And now I'm ready to commit. I'm going to be adhering all of my papers onto my white cardstock.
And I'm just using my ATG gun for that. And then I decided that this mint was kind of getting lost into that pattern, the black pattern paper. So I had some more of that subtle heart paper. It's a pinkish, it's a very subtle pink, but I love that it adds a little bit more framing to that white or that mint striped paper. And then I just run my ATG gun on the side of it and then started adhering my scallops. So I try to do edges first. So I go with the top or the bottom, top and bottom edges, and then kind of work my way into the center. That way I know that my edge circles are perfectly aligned to the edge of that paper. So I'm going to start off a few on the side and on the edges and then work my way towards the center, overlapping the circles. And I just love how this turned out, and this is one of my favorite go-to things to do with circle punches. And then of course, because my ATG is not, I mean, it's permanent, but you can move it around a little bit as after you put the adhesive in there. It's not permanent right off the bat, so I can move my scallops a little bit and form it the way I want it. And then I have punched out a 1.5 circle, and then I'm going to make some banners with it. Now I love using circles for banners as well because it's a different take on your regular pennant or triangle shaped banner. So I just scored about 1/3 into the circle, and then that will be the flap that I'm going to be using to add my twine. I just have this regular crochet twine, and then I adhered some adhesive on both the smaller piece of the circle and also on the bigger part. And then I'm just going to overlap that and then tuck that and then adhere it to close that twine behind that. And then I'm also going to be adhering some foam adhesive to this. This is going to be part of my title, and so I want that to stand out on my page. So I'm here adhering some foam adhesive to that. And then I want that to go on the top part of my page, and it will run just like so. So I'm going to peel that off. Peel them all at once so I can kind of move them around in however shape I want them to go. And then I'm going to secure the ends of those thread with some tape on the back side of my paper. I guess I have a circle stuck on the back of my paper. I'll figure that out later. I think that's the die and it's stuck. There you go. I found it and I pulled it out. Okay, so now I'm going to be using these chipboard letters from Basic Gray, and that's going to be my part of my title actually. The title is Glass Art, and so I'm going to be using the word glass and setting that on the top of those banners, and then I'm going to stamp some words on white paper for the art part of the title. There's part of my title, and that's the second way or the third way rather that I used a circle for this layout. And I have these kind of calligraphy type font stamps from Echo Park. They're called Allison stamps, and I have some Distress ink. I think it's Blue Lagoon that I'm using. I'm actually testing out two just to see. I think the pistachio is the kind of turquoise green. I'm going to see which one I like best, and I like the Blue Lagoon better because it is darker and it's going to make a good contrast against the mint paper that's behind it. Then I'm just going to cut that out, and here are some of the close-ups. I hope that you guys like this first lesson in our class, and I will see you in lesson 2.